Welcome to today's Lost Souls, where we bring you the most impactful and unforgettable stories from around the world. Today, we remember the lives of remarkable individuals whose legacies continue to inspire and resonate. From iconic musicians to trailblazing activists, join us as we celebrate their extraordinary contributions and bid farewell to those who have left an indelible mark on our lives. Stay tuned for a journey through their incredible stories.
René Bertrand. René Bertrand, a distinguished actor known for his impactful presence in Argentine cinema and television, passed away at the age of 53 in Buenos Aires after a courageous battle with metastatic bone cancer. His untimely death marks the loss of a talented artist who had contributed significantly to the cultural landscape of his country. Born and raised in Argentina, René Bertrand's career was marked by versatility and dedication to his craft. Over the years, he built a reputation for his compelling performances that resonated deeply with audiences. His ability to embody complex characters brought a unique authenticity to his roles, earning him respect among peers and fans alike. Bertrand's battle with metastatic bone cancer was a difficult journey, but he faced it with the same strength and resilience that he brought to his acting roles. In the days leading up to his passing, he suffered from acute flu complications, which further challenged his health. Despite these hardships, his legacy remains intact through the memorable characters he portrayed and the stories he helped tell. His death was confirmed by close sources, reflecting the profound impact he had on those around him, both professionally and personally. The Argentine artistic community mourns the loss of a gifted actor, whose career was cut short but whose influence will endure. René Bertrand's life and work remind us of the fragility of life and the power of art to transcend it. His contributions to the entertainment industry continue to inspire aspiring actors and filmmakers. As fans and colleagues remember him, his spirit lives on in the performances that touched hearts and minds. Bill Dellinger. Bill Dellinger, a legendary figure in American distance running and a transformative coach at the University of Oregon, passed away on June 27, 2025, at the age of 91, born on March 23, 1934, in Grants Pass, Oregon, and raised in Springfield. Dellinger's life was deeply intertwined with the sport of track and field, where he left an indelible mark both as an athlete and as a mentor. Dellinger's athletic career was distinguished by his participation in 3 consecutive Olympic Games, 1956 Melbourne, 1960 Rome, and 1964 Tokyo, where he specialized in the 5,000 meters. His crowning achievement as an athlete came in Tokyo in 1964 when he earned a bronze medal in the 5,000-meter race, setting his personal best time of 13 minutes 49 seconds and 8 milliseconds. He was also a world record holder indoors for the 2-mile and 3-mile events and set multiple American records during his career. His dedication to running was so profound that after initially retiring post-1960 Olympics, he returned to training and achieved his Olympic medal 3 years later, a testament to his perseverance and passion. Following his competitive career, Dellinger transitioned into coaching, becoming an assistant coach under the legendary Bill Bowerman at the University of Oregon. Upon Bowerman's retirement in 1973, Dellinger took over as head coach and led the Oregon Ducks track and field team for 25 years. Under his guidance, the team won 5 NCAA championships and produced numerous All-Americans. His coaching legacy is closely tied to the development of iconic runners such as Steve Prefontaine, Alberto Salazar, and Mary Decker. Dellinger. Mentorship of Prefontaine, in particular, is well remembered for his calm and steady leadership, especially during the difficult 1972 Munich Olympics crisis. Beyond coaching, Dellinger contributed to the sport through innovation, notably collaborating with Adidas to develop the Dellinger Web, a cushioning technology used in running shoes during the 1980s and early 1990s. Even after suffering a severe stroke in 2000 that limited his mobility and speech, He remained connected to the sport, attending meets and continuing to influence athletes and coaches alike. Bill Dellinger's legacy is that of a pioneer who shaped American distance running through athletic excellence, visionary coaching, and technological innovation. His impact on the University of Oregon and the broader running community is profound and enduring. He will be remembered not only for his medals and records but for the generations of athletes he inspired and guided. Oscar Carrillo, Oscar Eduardo Carrillo Baptiste, a prominent and beloved Peruvian actor and director of theater, television, and cinema, passed away on June 26, 2025, at the age of 59, in Lima, Peru. His death leaves a significant void in the Peruvian artistic community, where his contributions had a lasting impact across multiple generations. Born on August 29, 1965, Carrillo dedicated his life to the performing arts, becoming a key figure in Peru's cultural scene. He was widely recognized for his roles in popular television series such as Titan and the telenovela Los de Arriba, y Los de Abajo, which showcased his versatility and depth as an actor. Beyond acting, he was also a respected director, contributing to the growth and enrichment of Peruvian theater and cinema. Carrillo's career was marked by his commitment to artistic excellence and his passion for storytelling. He participated in numerous theatrical productions, films, and television projects, many of which helped strengthen and promote Peruvian culture nationally and internationally. His recent work included projects with Del Barrio Producciones, reflecting his continued active presence in the industry, even during his illness. In September 2022, Carrillo was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. Despite the severity of his illness, he underwent 2 surgeries and several chemotherapy treatments, which allowed him to remain professionally active and to share memorable moments with his family. His wife, actress Natalia Torres Villiers, revealed that they shared meaningful travels across Peru and the United States, fulfilling some of his lifelong dreams, including driving in the snow, one of his great passions. In early 2025, Carrillo's health began to decline more rapidly, and he spent his final days at home surrounded by family, in accordance with his wishes for privacy and intimacy. His funeral was a private service, respecting his desire to avoid media attention. While fans and colleagues expressed their condolences and admiration on social media, Oscar Carrillo's legacy is one of artistic dedication, resilience, and cultural influence. He leaves behind a rich body of work and a community that mourns the loss of a true icon of Peruvian arts. His life and career continue to inspire actors, directors, and audiences alike. Kylie Page. Kylie Page, a well-known American adult film actress and model, tragically passed away at the young age of 28 in Los Angeles. The cause of her death has not been publicly disclosed, and an investigation is ongoing. Kylie, whose real name was Bonnie Kins, entered the adult entertainment industry in 2016 and quickly rose to prominence with over 200 credited scenes across major brands such as Naughty America and Vixen Media Group. Throughout her career, Kylie was celebrated not only for her professional work, but also for her vibrant personality. Colleagues and friends remember her as a kind soul who brought warmth, laughter, and light wherever she went. Brazzers, one of the leading adult content producers she worked with, expressed deep sorrow over her passing, highlighting her infectious happiness and kindness. Fellow performer Leah Gotti described Kylie as light and bright, someone who loved to smile, laugh, and live life to the fullest, with a sense of freedom and joy. Kylie's impact extended beyond her on-screen performances. She was cherished for her genuine nature and the positive energy she shared with those around her. Alex Mack of Hussy Models, her talent agency, echoed these sentiments, calling her a wonderful friend who will always be remembered for her warmth and vibrant spirit. Her sudden death has sent shockwaves through the adult entertainment community, with fans and colleagues alike paying tribute to her legacy. Kylie Page's life, though brief, left a lasting impression through both her work and the kindness she showed to others. Shefali Jariwala, Shefali Jariwala, famously known as the Kaanta Laga girl, passed away on June 27, 2025. In Mumbai at the age of 42, Shefali was a beloved Indian actress and model, who rose to fame in the early 2000s with her iconic dance performance in the remake song Kaanta Laga, which made her a household name and one of the most loved pop culture icons of that era. Despite not pursuing a full-fledged Bollywood career, she appeared in several films, including Mujh's Shadi Karogi and Hajju Garu, and was a popular face on Indian television through reality shows such as Nach, Bali, 2 Seasons, and Big Boss 13, where she was a fan favorite. On the night of her death, Shefali suffered a cardiac arrest at her residence. Her husband, actor Parag Tyagi, along with others, rushed her to Bellevue Multispeciality Hospital, but she was declared dead upon arrival. Shefali had been fasting that day for a puja and had taken her regular medication, along with an anti-injection, which she had been using under medical supervision for several years. Police investigations suggest that taking these medicines on an empty stomach may have triggered a fatal drop in her blood pressure. However, the exact cause of death remains inconclusive pending forensic analysis. With no foul play suspected so far, Shefali was known for her vibrant and fun-loving personality, which endeared her to fans and colleagues alike. Her personal life saw 2 marriages, first to musician Harmeet Singh in 2004, which ended in divorce in 2009, and then to actor Parag Tyagi in 2015. She shared a close bond with her Big Boss co-contestant and former boyfriend, Siddharth Shukla, who himself passed away from cardiac arrest just a year before her. Her sudden demise has left the entertainment industry and her fans in deep shock and mourning. Shefali's legacy lives on through her memorable performances and the joyful spirit she brought to the screen and stage. Her last rites were performed privately, with family and close friends paying their respects. William Dafoe entered the world on July 22, 1955, in the modest Midwestern town of Appleton, Wisconsin, the 7th of 8 lively children born to nurse Muriel Isabel Sprisler and respected surgeon William Alfred Dafoe. Their bustling household sat on a leafy street where family dinners felt like miniature town halls, and every voice competed to be heard in that swirl of siblings. Young Billy, soon to be Wilm, learned early how to command a slice of air and attention with a wild, impish grin. Appleton's rhythms were slow, but his imagination raced at double speed, fueled by comic books, Saturday matinees at the local cinema, and the eerie hum of AM radio dramas spilling from a battered kitchen set. Even in grade school he staged backyard thrillers, recruiting niggard kids with the promise of popcorn and the thrill of applause, instinctively sensing that stories could stretch the fences of a small town into something vast and electric in class. Dafoe's restless energy clashed with polite decorum, yet sharp-eyed teachers noticed the raw curiosity that kept him lingering after lessons to press questions about everything from space travel to Shakespeare. Summers along the Fox River became his unscripted acting studio. He perched on a weather-worn bridge narrating imaginary adventures to invisible crowds while fishermen cast lines below. His mother, an amateur theater enthusiast, recognized the spark and enrolled him in Appleton East High's drama club. Beneath repurposed cafeteria lights he tackled one-act plays with fearless abandon, discovering that applause wasn't mere approval, but proof that the boundary between his inner visions and the tangible world could be breached. Storytelling felt like alchemy. By sheer performance he could turn any ordinary afternoon into something urgent, unforgettable, and almost magical. By his lanky, sharp-cheeked teen years, Dafoe's need to push limits had only intensified. Commandeered his father's old Super 8 camera to shoot a guerrilla documentary about Appleton's budding underground music scene, sneaking into basements where local kids hammered out proto-riffs, the film boldly titled. The streets got him suspended for truancy, but secretly won admiration from peers, who finally saw their hidden world reflected on screen. After graduation, he enrolled at the University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee's theater program, chasing the craft in a formal setting. Yet lecture halls felt too safe, too theoretical, drawn to the visceral experiments of Milwaukee's avant-garde troupe, Theater X. He skipped exams to build sets, scrub paint, fleck floors, and watch hypnotic rehearsals. Immersion in that crucible convinced him acting wasn't a pastime, it was a calling that demanded total surrender, body, voice, and unflinching presence. With $20 a backpack and the stubborn confidence of youth, Defoe quit university in 1976 and hitchhiked east, trading cornfields for concrete canyons. He found a creative home in Richard Schneer's performance group, and soon after the Breakaway Worcester group, infamous for boundary-shattering productions that fused multimedia, fractured narratives, and raw, emotional truth. Nights meant borrowed couches, days meant sweat-drenched rehearsals, inside a drafty garage that steamed in summer and froze in winter. It was a boot camp for artistic resilience, forging the discipline that would color every future role from Sinners and Soldiers to comic book legends. There William slipped away, and Will emerged, a deliberate rebirth, announcing a life dedicated to restless reinvention. The boy from Appleton had stepped onto a path that would carry him into cinematic history. Defoe's on-screen ascent began not with red carpets, but with bruises and grit, and that edge would carve his legend. After a fleeting appearance in Heaven's Gate was mostly left on the cutting room floor, he rebounded as the reckless counterfeiter Eric Rick Masters in William Friedkin's To Live and Die in L.A. In 1985, dripping danger like gasoline on concrete. A year later, Oliver Stone drafted him into Platoon, casting Defoe as the soulful sergeant. Elias, the moral heartbeat of the jungle. When Elias fell to rival bullets in slow-motion, audiences felt cinema itself gasp. Suddenly the wiry actor from Appleton was Oscar-nominated and unforgettable. His expressive face, all sharp planes and searchlight eyes, seemed built for moral conflict, and directors noticed in a single sweep. He had reshaped the 1980s anti-hero, proving that vulnerability could be as magnetic as menace, and every studio's radar now pinged his name with electric urgency. The next seismic jolt came with Martin Scorsese's The Last Temptation of Christ, 1988, where Defoe's fearless, aching portrayal of Jesus ignited global controversy, yet revealed a performer unafraid of sacred fire. Protesters marched, headlines blazed, and Defoe stood calmly at the vortex, inviting the storm as proof that art should rattle cages. Through the 1990s, he pivoted between blistering thrillers like Mississippi Burning Neon, noir fever dreams like Wild at Heart, and Artus Rieries, with Wim Wenders and Catherine Bigelow. Each leap showed an actor treating genre like an open atlas, every role a new terrain to explore, whether it demanded swamp bottom accents, preacher man conviction, or silent dread. By decade's end, critics spoke of the Defoe effect, that uncanny sense he could sculpt empathy from even the darkest silhouettes, leaving viewers unsettled yet irresistibly engaged. Mainstream immortality beckoned in 2002, when Sam Raimi's Spider-Man unleashed Defoe as Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, whose maniacal grin sliced across multiplex screens worldwide. Hidden behind latex and serrated laughter, he still injected raw human tragedy into a comic book titan, teaching Marvel that villains could be Shakespearean, balanced blockbuster allure with indie daring, slipping into Lars Vonner's unsettling universes. Mandalay Antichrist, Wes Anderson's Pastel Dollhouses, The Life Aquatic, The Grand Budapest Hotel, and David Lynch's Dream Logic, Inland Empire cameo. The industry marveled at his agility. One month, he braved green screen skyscrapers. The next, he whispered existential dread on a bare stage. Defoe had become a cinematic polyglot, fluent in every dialect of storytelling, and audiences followed him eagerly into each stylistic minefield. In the 2010s, a fresh wave of acclaim rolled in Sean Baker's The Florida Project, 2017 cast him as motel manager Bobby Hicks, a tough-loved guardian for kids on society's edge. His tender restraint earned a third Oscar nomination. Next came At Eternity's Gate 2018, where he embodied Vincent van Gogh, with sun-blasted intensity gathering swirling brushstrokes of madness and grace, and turning them into a soul laid bare. Another Academy nod followed Robert Edgars. The Lighthouse 2019 sealed his mythic status locked in nautical gloom opposite. Robert Patterson Defoe delivered salt-crusted monologues that sounded like ancient sea curses, mesmerizing and merciless each. Project reaffirmed his devotion to characters sketched in blood, sweat, and fragile hope, reminding Hollywood that artistry still thundered beneath franchise spectacle the current decade finds. Defoe defiantly prolific, leaping from Yorgos Lanthimos' surreal Poor Things and Robert Edgars' Viking epic The Northman to Guillermo del Toro's upcoming reimagining of Frankenstein, whether voicing demons in animation or haunting dark comedies. He taxed scripts with the curiosity of a debutante and the wisdom of a seasoned monk. Film festivals chant his name, streaming giants court his gravitas, and younger actors cite him as proof a career can be both fearless and evergreen. The boy who once filmed clandestine gigs in Wisconsin has become a global lodestar for cinematic risk-taking. His resume, a living map of where storytelling has traveled and where it hungers to go next for an actor who has spent decades flinging himself off rooftops, wrestling prosthetic wing sand, burying himself neck deep in Icelandic tundra. Defoe's longevity feels almost mythical, but it is anchored in disciplined self-care rather than good luck. Early in his Worcester Group years, he discovered yoga while touring Asia, adopting a daily Ashtanga sequence that he still performs before dawn, no matter the time zone, paired with meditation learned from Tibetan monks on 7 years in Tibet. Sets this regimen sharpens focus and keeps his wiry frame limber enough to sprint across sound stages. At 69 he follows a Mostel plant-based diet, joking that green is his true goblin fuel, and credits macrobiotic chef Karen Calabresi for teaching him how seaweed broths can outmatch any multivitamin. Directors marvel that he shows up at 4 o'clock a.m. Shoot calls already warmed up, sweat glistening on temples, ready to attack the day, while half the crew still hunts for coffee, yet relentless. Physical roles have etched their ledger of scars on Platoon. He waded through Cambodian swamps, so foul he fought off dysentery and trench foot, shedding 12 pounds in 2 weeks. A rooftop wire stunt in Spider-Man left him with hairline fractures in his right wrist. He refused a stunt double, iced the joint, and returned after lunch for close-ups that demanded the same clenched grip on glider controls. While filming The Lighthouse, gale force winds blew sand into his corneas, scratching both eyes. Production paused one afternoon so a medic could flush them with saline before Defoe insisted on finishing a storm-tossed monologue that evening. Colleagues say he treats pain as a collaborator. He listens, adjusts, then folds discomfort into turning bruises into honest texture rather than complaint. Psychological strain has also lurked. Prolonged immersion in tormented characters risks emotional whiplash after completing Von Trier's Antichrist. Loaded with grief and graphic violence, he spent weeks in silence at a Zen monastery near Kyoto to let the demons exit. Quietly, this openness has made him a quiet advocate for destigmatizing mental health support within the industry's macho subcultures. Despite brushes with exhaustion, Defoe has avoided the chronic ailments that often stalk long careers. Annual physicals at New York Presbyterian show cardiovascular numbers of someone half his age, a fact he attributes to constant movement and minimal alcohol. Mindfulness tools, breath counts, walking meditations, journaling became essential maintenance, allowing him to shed roles at rap so they don't nest inside his psyche. He speaks publicly about therapy not as crisis response but as creative hygiene, encouraging younger actors to view mental tune-ups like rehearsal. If you stretch the mind into dark corners, you must stretch it back to daylight. He quit cigarettes cold turkey after Mississippi burning WP in 1988. swapping nicotine for laps in hotel pools. Friends recall rap parties where co-stars downed champagne, while Defoe nursed sparkling water already. Plotting Dawn Heights. When asked on talk shows about secret supplements, he laughs. Curiosity is the best steroid keep. Chasing roles that scare you, and the body keeps up. The pandemic posed a new challenge, grounding productions and trapping him inside a Manhattan loft. Instead of idling, he converted a spare room into a Spartan dojo, live streaming martial arts drills with stunt coordinators to maintain agility. A brief bout with CO-19 in late 2020 produced only mild symptoms, fatigue, and loss of smell, which he countered with breathing exercises learned from freedivers on Aquaman reshoots. Within weeks, he was back riding a fixed-gear bike across the Brooklyn Bridge at sunrise, chasing the thrum of an empty city. Health to D is not an end state, but an evolving rehearsal. Each day, a fresh script demanding full, fearless embodiment. Grief has visited Defoe in waves, shaping his empathy as surely as any acting coach. The first profound blow struck in 2012 when his mother, Muriel, the nurse who first applauded his backyard dramas, passed away. After brief illness, Defoe spent her final weeks by her bedside in Wisconsin reading Shakespeare sonnets that once fueled his childhood imagination. 2 years later, the family patriarch Dr. William Defoe followed, leaving Wilm to reckon with a world suddenly absent of the steady moral compass that had guided him from Appleton to international sound stages. Between shoots, he returned to the family home, sorting photo albums and surgical journals, learning that memories can sting and soothe. Simultaneously, those quiet pilgrimages infused later performances with a newly visible tenderness, as if every role, mother's reassuring laugh, professional family losses, also cut deep. His decades with the Booster Group forged bonds, welded by artistic extremity. When troupe co-founder Spalding Gray died in 2004, Defoe roamed Manhattan's East River piers at dawn, hearing Gray's storytelling cadence ride the wind, losing collaborators such as cinematographer Robbie Miller and actor Philip Seymour Hoffman felt like having chapters of his creative diary torn out mid-sentence. Rather than retreat, he poured sorrow into characters teetering on existential brink. Van Gogh's Starry Night despair, Bobby Hicks' weary compassion, transmuting private ache into public catharsis. He believes audiences sense that undercurrent, subconsciously binding them closer to the screen, because they recognize authentic mourning behind the performance. Mask in his intimate life, a different kind of farewell, arrived when his long partnership with Elizabeth Luckmatt evolved into separate journeys. After nearly 3 decades, the amicable separation meant redefining family structure while still co-parenting Jack Defoe, the son he helped raise from infancy. Navigating that transition without tabloid drama required rare discipline. He and LMPT kept rehearsals, civil birthdays shared, and egos shelved, demonstrating that endings can be gentle rather than scorched earth. Nonetheless, the shift left him confronting evenings alone for the first time in years, a solitude he initially filled with marathon bike rides through Brooklyn, until stillness no longer unsettled him. The broader industry has posed its own unforeseen farewells. Projects shuttered, friends lost to illness, theaters razed, 4 condos each. Closure reminds him that permanence is an illusion, and he has adopted a ritual of lighting a beeswax candle in his dressing room on opening night, silently naming absent colleagues. Before stepping on stage, he keeps a worn Polaroid of Platoon Smets pinned inside his travel journal. When news arrived in 2023 that co-star Tom Berenger faced serious health issues, Defoe flew cross-country between shoots to sit bedside, repaying battlefield camaraderie with real-world loyalty. These gestures, small to the outside eye, form the invisible latticework of resilience that lets him dive repeatedly into new characters without fracturing. Confronting loss also reshaped his art. Activism intersection. After the 2018 passing of mentor Harry Dean Stanton, Defoe funded scholarships for aging actors who lack healthcare, channeling grief into structural change. Post-pandemic, He spearheaded benefit readings for shuttered regional theaters, remembering his roots in modest Appleton playhouses. Each initiative is an elegy made practical sorrow, becomes stage lights mourning, becomes union dues, and the echo of vanished voices transforms into opportunities for those still striving through this alchemy he keeps. The departed present proof that creativity can outwit mortality, if only for the length of a performance chat. GPT scriptwriter William Defoe's calendar in 2025 looks less like a retirement glide path and more like a juggler's flaming torches. His cameo as hard-nosed Detective Wolf Jackson crackles through Tim Burton's Beetlejuice reboot. Lanthimos's Antarctic Fantasia, Poor Things still roars on streaming charts. Robert Edgar's shadow-soaked Nosferatu, Ready Sits Go Halloween re-release, and cameras roll on Guillermo del Toro's Gothic Frankenstein, where Defoe, swathed in stitches and sorrow, explores the line between caretaker and creation, between blockbuster shoots, Hestels, weeks for indie gems, voicing a dementia-haunted painter in an A24 stop-motion short, then workshopping a video installation monologue about AI and mortality at MoMA's PS1, annexes hunger to oscillate between multiplex thunder and Artus whispers remains undiminished, convincing producers that a name synonymous with cinematic risk can also carry box office heat. Home these days is equal parts transatlantic commute and contoured stillness. He and filmmaker artist wife Giota Cran split the year between a sun-washed loft near Rome's Campo de Fiori and a pared-back West Village airy, the two addresses mirroring his bashful passport. Dawn finds him bicycling the Janiculum Hill before leading breathwork drills for Biana Lee Tetro Fellows, where newly appointed artistic director, he curates the 53rd festival under the theme Theater is Body is Poetry. Workshops probe how voice, movement, and sensor tech converge, and Defoe laces every session with stories from decades of set life, reminding young actors that craft outlives trends. When press asks about wealth, he points to climate justice grants he funds in Wisconsin wetlands. Italian reportage frames him as the rare Hollywood star whose sustainable alpaca farm outside Verbo is more laboratory than vanity estate. At 69, his internal compass still tilts toward the unfinished Horizon scripts stack on a reclaimed wood desk, an Icelandic horror about geothermal myths, a stage revival of Pinter's The Homecoming, and a VR collaboration with choreographer Crystal Pike that will map his facial muscles into digital puppetry. He calls himself permanently apprenticed, forever sharpening reflexes by courting roles that might fail spectacularly. Each cold plunge in a rooftop tub is fuel for tomorrow's set, and each rap party toast circles back to curiosity, the force that first lifted a boy from Appleton onto imaginary stages now guides an elder statesman through cinema's ever-shifting labyrinth. Should his voice crack, should knees creak, he shrugs. Presence, he insists, is not the absence of frailty, but the willingness to reveal it. In that revelation lies the Defoe mystique, endlessly renewable, defiantly alive, and still writing new chapters long after most careers have dimmed. 2 credits roll. Memory